OmniMovement is here, and it is pivotal for your gameplay. I'm going to be walking you through how to master movement in Black Ops 6. Let's get right into it. What's going on, YouTube? This is going to be my movement guide to getting better movement in Black Ops 6. Again, this is the first weekend, so things are going to change. I'm going to improve on the movement. The player base is going to improve on the movement. But first things first, you're going to want to make sure you have the right settings. These are my controller settings. I play tactical, I play flips, so my bumpers. I'm not going to get too much into like the aiming stuff or anything like that, just because that isn't anything that is really regarding movement. But here we are with the movement. So I have tactical sprint assist on, making sure you have 0 sprint delay. It's super important because if you have a delay, like I don't even know, like 300, you see how I sprint for a little bit and then it has to pull up because it's getting delayed. So with my controller at the bottom right here, you see it with my joystick, it will take a little bit to sprint. So comparative, this is auto tac sprint. So if you turn this off, you will just boom, boom, right? Way less delay, and you can be very good with your movement. Okay. Mantle assist, I have that off. I don't like auto mantle. This is definitely something you can have on if you struggle with climbing up things, but I don't like when I'm mid gunfight or something. I'm doing a jump shot right around in this corner, and it's forcing me to mantle up here. And because I'm mantling, right, when you have this setting off, you're just going to have to spam the button a little bit more and end up doing that. Next thing, crouch assist. Again, I don't have that on. I do not think this is a setting you should have on. Corner slice, this is something I'm still trying to figure out. So corner slicing is this right here, when your gun will bend around a corner to slice it. It's something we see in kind of games like Rainbow Six Siege. Manually, you have to corner slice. In this game, does it for you. There's situations where corner slicing has been really nice, and there's situations where corner slicing hasn't been very nice. But I'm still thinking it's useful for now. I haven't seeing if there's actually any benefits. Like if your gun's middle, are you getting an advantage with having corner slice on? I'm not entirely sure. Slide and dive behavior, one of the most important ones. Making sure you either have slide only or hybrid on. So if you have tap to slide, what will happen is the game doesn't actually know if you want to slide or if you want to dive. So if you're sliding, it will delay. You see how there's even just a tad bit of delay in comparison? Now it's a lot easier as a player, but there's delay from when I'm pressing down on my controller here on the bottom right and sliding. Right, that is going to lose you gunfights when you're not really in control of your character. Now, if you have tap to dive on, it'll just be, right, you tap, you dive, you hold, you slide. Now, that would be very nice, but the game doesn't understand what you're doing the whole time. It makes sense. So making sure you have slide only, so you either slide, or what I recommend is hybrid. Hybrid's going to take you a little bit to figure out, but when you hold down both the sticks, that's how you will dive. So boom, boom, hold this down, just tap, boom, dive, right? With the other one, with the slide, you're just not doing anything and you're just sliding like you have slide only on, right? That's the difference. So, making sure you have the right settings on, because you don't want to play with the delay. You want to make sure you have it. Another big setting, sprint restore. If you don't have sprint restore on, your auto tac sprint won't restore as well. So it's definitely a setting I saw people saying to make sure you have on. I do think it's an important setting, so making sure you have that on. Slide maintain sprints. So again, that's something when I try and sprint, I want to sprint right after. With this setting, if you slide, you're going to have your gun down the whole time. So for me, I want to make sure I keep moving after my slide. Parachute, that's not really important. Mantle cancels reload. Guess that doesn't really matter, on or off. I don't mantle. And then aiming stuff, again, nothing really huge on that stuff. So for the movement stuff, it's not anything crazy. This should be both for keyboard and mouse. I know for keyboard and mouse, with if you're on this one, it'll be a lot different. You'll have 2 binds, one for slide, one for crouch. You won't have to worry about these different things. But if you are playing on controllers, this is really important settings, in my opinion, to make sure you have on to ensure your movement. Now let's get to actual gameplay. So, one thing for me I've realized is you're going to play with a lot of momentum, right? momentum and making sure you can keep moving is going to outplay your opponents, right? Just making sure you have the advantage and feeling fresh and feeling smooth. It's going to take a while to adjust. I've been playing a lot, and this is not an easy thing to do, right? But there's different ways, right? Something I've been doing is to slide into it. Now, I'm not entirely sure how good of a system this is, right? But making sure you can just ensure your movement is the best possible in different ways, right? Movement is so pivotal, and especially if you're somebody who is trying to get better or improve. Movement is my #1 tip for somebody who's trying to improve, is making sure that you are ensuring you have the best movement possible, and different things you can try. So when you're mid-game, you slide into a drop shot, right? Slide into a drop shot. So sliding into a drop shot, sliding left, sliding right, jumping while shooting. Now, b-hopping isn't really in this game, I'm not gonna lie to you. I shoot while, like, I jump and shoot all the time, but b-hopping as much isn't really in this game, so but jumping and shooting in this game is not bad, right? If you can, right, like, kind of like that, quick little kill, that's good. Keep your momentum up. Drop shotting, I will say, is pretty good in this game, but I recommend for people, do not get in the habit of drop shotting. It's something that happened to me early in Modern Warfare, is I got into a drop shotting habit. So I would be, every single time, I'd be drop shotting. I'd be getting into one, drop shotting, every single gunfight. And what that happens is when you're facing good players, or you're in a spawn, right? So let's say you're playing domination and they're spawning on like A or C flag over here, right? And and there's a guy right here. You're gonna drop shot into him, and you're gonna kill this one dude, right? You're gonna kill him. And what's gonna happen is 3 more of his teammates are gonna come around the corner, and you're stuck on your belly, and you have no chance of getting out of the situation, and you're dead. So making sure that you're ensuring your movement is the best way possible. The biggest tip, though, I will say, if you're somebody, okay, how do I improve my movement, though? You say that's the most important tip for players to get better. And I do think so. I think it is shooting while moving. It's something that you have to psychologically do and not even think about, right? I'm thinking about, okay, I'm going to slide right here, right? Maybe I'm not really thinking about it in my brain, but I'm still doing it. Where when I'm shooting and moving, I'm trying to move and shoot at the same time without even thinking about it. So when we go to an opponent right here, let me find a little recruit bot right here. Let me go to a recruit bot. So this guy right here, right? I'm shooting and moving. I'm moving left. So if you look at my controller on the left, on my left joystick, which is my moving stick, what I'm doing is actually moving and shooting. It's a super, super important tip. So, right, I'm just moving. It makes it harder, right? When you see somebody, even just walking, right? Boom. Moving. Maybe jumping, right? That's something I do. I will jump around the corner. So now you're not even just walking around. You're jumping, right? Slide. Move left. Move right. Right? That's how you're going to improve, is moving and shooting and getting shifty, right? One of the challenges is moving while shooting, right? Moving, getting kills while moving. That is such an important tip, and for players, right? Right, this. Backwards. Forwards, right? Forwards not as much to me, but one move I always do too is I'll slide and then back, right? Right? It gets people all the time. Right? Yeah, these are recruit bots, but movement is going to work on players. Sometimes players are caught off guard by movement, and it's the most important tip, in my opinion, is to making sure you're just improving, working on different things, and psychologically getting towards shooting without moving, and really just realizing that's something that's going to be in your trick. So learning different tricks, right? Learning different spots on maps, jump ups, momentum boosts, right? Different thing. Like, there's things like this, right, that you're not going to know about on all these different maps that your players are going to have the advantage on. And making sure your movement is one of them will just get you to get better in both Warzone, multiplayer, and anything. Honestly, maybe even zombies, right? Shifting around the map and allowing yourself to not get hit by zombies on the way is just so important. So those are my tips for you guys, making sure you have the right settings. If you guys have any more questions, down in the comments, let me know. Movement is something that I'm still trying to figure out. Again, this is opening weekend. This is day 2 of the official release, and for me, do not go on a high sensitivity too. I will give you one last tip as well. I would not go on a high sensitivity. So For me, I used to play 2020. I used to think that was the most crack sensitivity. I used to feel like, dude, I could just, you know, boom, right there. But the difference is when you go on a low sensitivity, you're having more control over your character. You're feeling like you're actually in control, where you're kind of trying to predict where your aim is. You're barely actually touching your stick. And 8.8 is honestly still a high sensitivity. I've thought about lowering it before, but like, right, if you look at the pros, nobody's running 2020. Nobody's running even 1010, right? It's important to have control over your character. And you can tell when somebody's using a sensitivity just too high for them, right? They're not, right? The difference between aiming here and aiming here and aiming here is so different, right? They're not in control of their character. It looks kind of like they're sloppy and not really in control, right? It's almost like those TikTok kids where they're going, whoa, right? Right? So, it's so important. One thing I always like to do is slide and jump initiative, but yeah, guys, that's my tutorial on movement, some tips and tricks to help you guys start dominating in Black Ops 6. I hope you guys are enjoying the game as much as I am. Lots of content coming soon, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.